Hello, everybody. It is one grand and glorious day today. I'll take this the rest of spring. I won't take the 2 inches of snow we're supposed to get tomorrow, though. Hey, it's still, that time of year, up and down, up and down. But it's also Tuesday and Holy Week, and we're working our way through the servant songs that are found in the book of Isaiah. And so I was going to lay aside any talk of Testy Tuesday because okay, let's do it anyhow. Testy Tuesday. Are you ready? How many different prophets are included in the book of Isaiah? According to our best scholarship, how many prophets wrote and whose writings are now included in the one book called the Book of Isaiah? You can guess any number between 1 and 5. All right? Give you a few more choices. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, time's up. How many do you think? The correct answer is at least 3, possibly 4. The debate is still going on whether there was what we call fourth Isaiah. So you have first Isaiah, second Isaiah, third Isaiah, and maybe fourth. We're not really sure about that. And we know that because in essence, there was an Isaiah who wrote before the Babylonian exile, one while they were in exile, and one post-exile. All right? Simple enough. The servant songs come while they were in exile. And that's important to know. Think of the context. The people have lost their homeland. They've been uprooted. They're now in a foreign place under a foreign power. They're down and out. Oh, God, why have you abandoned us? Why has this happened to us? All those kind of things are going through their minds. And this prophet comes and he announces the servant of God, the servant of the Lord, who will arise to make things right again. And that happens in 4 different places, 4 different servant songs. Sometimes it appears he's talking to a group of people. Could that possibly be Israel itself, the remnant of those who are in exile? At other times, it's in the first person, so it's like it's a single individual. It's hard to know. It's hard to know. What we do know is this: as we read these servant songs, they point in the direction that many early Christians believe is Jesus and what Jesus means for us. So that's why we reflect on those during Holy Week. I like to read the second servant song that comes from the 49th chapter of Isaiah, verses 1 through 7. I'm going to read all 7 verses. Listen to me, O coastlands. Pay attention, you peoples from far away. The Lord called me before I was born. While I was in my mother's womb, he named me. He made my mouth like a sharp sword. He made me a polished arrow in his quiver to hide me. And he said to me, you are my servant, Israel, in whom I will be glorified. But I said, I've labored in vain. I've spent my strength for nothing in vanity. Yet surely my cause is with the Lord, and my reward with my God. And now the Lord says, who formed me in the womb to be his servant, to bring Jacob back to him, and that Israel might be gathered to him. For I am honored in the sight of my God, and my God has become my strength. He says, it is too light a thing that you should be my servant, to raise up the tribes of Jacob and to restore the survivors of Israel. I'll give you as a light to the nations, that my salvation may reach to the end of the earth. The Redeemer of Israel is Holy One, to one deeply despised, abhorred by the nations, the slave of rulers. Kings shall see and stand up, princes, and they shall prostrate themselves because of the Lord who is faithful, the Holy One of Israel, Who has chosen you? Whoa, all of a sudden, this chapter 49, verses 1 through 7 out of Isaiah, just kind of laying there, and maybe you've read it a dozen times and it really hasn't meant a whole lot to you. Do you see what's going on? The people are being given hope that a servant will arise. And this servant, who is it? Well, we're not really sure, because it seems to be the nation of Israel itself at one point, but then it does seem to be an individual. Some individual who is still even, has been called to do it within his own mother's womb. Before he was even born, God had this all set to go, that he would have someone rise up to gather these lost people and forsaken people back together. And remember, it's not just the people who were carried away into exile. These people were dispersed all over the place when the Babylonians came in and just ran roughshod all over the nation. So here it is. There's hope. There is someone who's coming. And not only is this person going to do God's bidding to restore the nation, this person doesn't even believe that they're the one. I mean, they're saying, not me, I've labored in vain, I've spent all my strength for nothing in vanity. And then all of a sudden, but maybe, just maybe, it is God. The Lord is my strength. So maybe I should just hang in there, because he's got something for me to do. The whole Old Testament is filled with such people whom God has called to do mighty things, who thought so low of themselves, no, it can't be me, I can't do it. I wonder what God is saying to you and to me when we say the same things. Not me, I'm not the one for that job. Maybe you are, and maybe I am. Something to think about. And what's wonderful is it goes well beyond just restoring Israel. Did you see that? At the second part there, God, it says, you know what? It's not just enough that you restore the nation of Israel and bring them all back together. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to make you a light to the rest of the world. So, does that mean he's making this servant a light to the rest of the world? Or now, is he going to make through the servant the whole nation of Israel a light to the nations? That his salvation would reach out to everyone. Everyone, not just my little group, my little clique here, but everyone. And because of that, you know what's going to happen. You know, the very one that is being abhorred and despised and looked down upon, yeah, that be you, servant. People are going to come to you. People will now bow down. They're going to realize that you were sent by me, Yahweh, the Lord. What a powerful piece of literature we have right there, chapter 49 in the book of Isaiah. And as I said earlier, during this Holy Week, we look there and we see Jesus at work in this world. Jesus who was despised, looked down upon. Jesus in his mother's womb, called to be that very light to a very dark world. Well, blessings be with you on this nice, warm, early spring day. And yeah, we're going to be looking at the other two servant songs, and I do believe that when we get around to looking at those last two, because there's four altogether, just like there might be four different prophets, but we know there were at least three that comprised the book of Isaiah. But we might be doing that in dodging snowflakes. So I don't know if I'll be sitting outside doing these the rest of the week. Depends on how much wind we get. Might be inside, but still. Beautiful poetry. Beautiful literature that tells us who this servant is, who this servant was. Is it you? Is it me? Is it Israel? Is it Jesus? Is it all of us? Again, get outside, enjoying the sunshine, and God's blessings be raining down upon you without any rain, with lots of sunshine.